Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. In this video I'll create a detailed trip information screen with a beautiful appearance effect. To implement this screen, I'll use the Bottom Sheet package. So let's install it. Since I use React Native Reanimated version 2 in this application, I need to add a plugin to the bubble configuration. After that, we need to install pod for iOS and rebuild the project. Great. Let's create a folder for our screen and move the trip detail screen there. Now let's import the bottom sheet and render it. I got an error related to Reanimated 2 package. To solve this problem, we need to restart Metro with reset cache flag. And now let's restart application to check it. So I got another error. And the problem is that I didn't pass the required parameter. It is snap points. Okay, let's just copy it. It works. So I want to wrap snap points and use memo. The first point will be 30%, the same as it was in the card. The second point, we put 80% of the screen. Let's set the title and location to dark color to see if they display correctly. Yes, perfect. And now let's remove the drag handler because we don't need it. To do this, we need to override the handler component. Perfect. And let's also remove unused code. I'll also set the start index, although it is not required. So now let's override the background component and implement new styles to animate background color. First, let's set a white background. And then we just add animation for opacity. Perfect. But let's change the start position of the white background display. Okay, great. And we also need to add top border radius. Perfect. Next step, let's animate the title and location color. First, we need to set back the white color. Next, we need to redefine animate index so that we can animate any components. For this, we will use the hook, use shared value from Reanimated, since the bottom sheet is built on the basis of this package. Great, now let's create a color animation for the title. To implement color animation, we will also use methods from Reanimated package. Now let's pass these styles to the text component. In order for the animation to work, we need to use the text component from Reanimated. Let's check it. Perfect. Now let's animate the location. First, we just need to copy title styles. Okay. Now I'm going to change the text color and font size. Great. So now let's add location icon. Now I want to add some space between title and location. But first, the location icon needs to be hidden. For this, I also need to add some styles for animation. Perfect. And now let's add some space between title and location. Great, as you can see, the space is only added when the bottom sheet is active. Now let's add a divider below the location. To do this, I will create a divider component, as we will still need it in other components. Great, but need to add space on the sides. I will add a flag relative to which the indents of the sides will be displayed. Cool. Now we need to add scroll view for the content of the card. And let's disable scroll indicators. For the section header, I will use a component I created earlier. Great, but let's add style customization and make button display optional. And now let's move this component to the share folder. Let's probably move all reusable components to the share folder. Okay, now I'll change the header styles a bit. Great. As you can see, if we move down the card, we still see divider and content. Let's change it. In the order to properly animate the divider, let's wrap it with the forward ref function. And now let's just make our component animatable. To do this, I'll use the create animate component from the reanimated package. And just replace our component with new one. It is strange. What I missed? I found. I need to remove the brackets. Okay, great. Now let's add transparency to divider when the card is closed. And we also need to add this style to the content. Let's check it. Perfect. But I want to add a little shift when content appears. Great, I like it. Now let's finish the summary section. Okay, cool. Now let's create the overall rating component and place it in first position. To implement this component, I'll use the React Native Ratings package. I'm going to create a folder since I will have several types of rating. For now, I'll create a component that will simply return a view. And then I need to add margin to left and right. And so for start, let's create a label for rating and add some styling. Also, let's add a caption that will be displayed above the rating component. And also, let's add some styles. Now we need to display these blocks horizontally. Okay. Then let's create the rating component. There are several rating components in this package. I'll use Airbnb rating. And now let's pass some parameters. Count. It is a number of stars displayed. Show rating. It is a default caption which is displayed above the rating. Selected color. It is the color of active stars. I am also going to disable rating changes for now. And then let's change the size of the stars. And finally, let's pass a rating. As you can see, now we have all stars painted over, although we have rating 9.2. The problem is that we have a rating from 0 to 10, but in the component we passed from 0 to 5. We just need to divide our current rating by 2. Let's create a new utils file. And now I'll create a function that will return the correct rating to us. Let's check it. And finally, let's add some styles. I set margin horizontal -2 because inside the component there are margins on the sides, but we don't need them. Everything is displayed correctly now. Also, let's add the ability to customize container styles. So, now let's add some margin between label and rating. Okay, cool. Our component is too close to the divider. Let's add some margin. Now the rating label is displayed correctly. But if the number will be displayed without the second value, for example 9, in this case we need to add 0 to the end. To do this, let's create a new function in utils that will automatically add 0 if there is no second number. Perfect. The next section is the hotels carousel. First, let's copy the section header and change the title. Now let's create a hotel carousel. It will look like top Places Carousel. Let's open the top Places Carousel component. I am going to create a universal component so that I can reuse it later. First, let's just copy a flat list from this component. Let's add items to the props. It is a list of the hotels or places or something else. And let's copy the dimensions of the card. And now I need to implement the render function. I will make it similar to the render item function from flat list. But in addition to the item and index fields, I will add style with size of the card. Now let's import this component and check it. And let's import the hotels component in the trip details card. Okay, nice. Now let's create the carousel card. For this, I'll also create universal components. First, let's create a card component. In fact, it will be a container. Then let's replace the view with our component and pass the style to apply the card size and margin. Great, but you may notice that the top and bottom of the card is cut off. In the order to solve this problem, we need to add top and bottom padding for the carousel. Okay, great. Now let's create a card media component to display the image. Okay, and now let's add our component to the card and check it. Okay, perfect. Now let's create another component for content of the card. And also add it to the card. We have some problem. I completely forgot. I need to add flex 1 for the image wrapper. Okay, perfect. For this case, we need to remove border bottom radius. I will make it optional. Okay, and now let's just implement the content of the card. First of all, we will implement the title and location section. Okay, perfect. Now let's implement the price section. Okay, then let's add rating component below the location. Great, but need to add some margin. And then I also want to add rating label. For this, I'll make small changes in rating component. Okay, perfect. All the same, I want to increase the margin between location and rating. Okay, it is better. And finally, let's also add favorite icon. To do this, let's create icon component which will render favorite button with absolute styles. Okay, perfect. And last section is reviews list. First, let's create a new folder, inside which I'll create a new file. Reviews. And let's place it under Hotels Carousel. So we also need to copy section header. I completely forgot about buttons in the header section. Let's fix it. Now let's implement review component. I am going to create another file for review item. Okay, so now let's implement this component. I want to display the rating that the user has given. Only it will be slightly different. The label will be displayed above the rating. I also want to display the caption of the rating. For that, I'll create one more function in the utils file. Okay, perfect. Still have to add a comment text. So let's also add a divider above review item. And now we need to add margin between divider and item. Okay, nice, we finished this screen. And last, I am going to add favorite icon to the top right corner. Okay, great. Now let's refactor top places component using the carousel and card components. Okay, perfect. And let's also refactor the trips list component. Okay, great. Thanks for watching this video. If you liked this video, press like and subscribe to my channel. And if you have any questions, ask me in the comments. I'll be happy to answer. Bye.